elbow or the straight one?
It's coming right out of here.
Let's start at 9 o'clock, you said. Guess who's not here? My old man. Guess what time it is? 9 o'clock. Look, it's Mr. 9 o'clock.
I figured you wouldn't be up.
Alright guys, so before we get into this, I'm going to drop a clip of that Hyundai that we were working on in the last video, because Sam is just something else. He's just a nut to work with. So I want to put that in. I'm going to put it in right here. We got it, fam. Astro start issue and a faulty PCM relay.
Feel the power of Korea in the Hyundai. Designed, engineered, manufactured, installed, maintained, and ran by our fearless leader, Kim Jong-un.
You guys, we're going to start bolting this other side down, and I just now looked at the instructions. Let's take a look at these a little bit. Sure, you read operation and safety manuals. Well, that's the first thing that every guy does. Throw those away along with the instructions, and then talks about maintenance. Don't use it if it's all jacked up. This is the one I really love though. Please don't bring your wife and kids and put them under the car. If you're confused, maybe you shouldn't be a mechanic. Work our way down. Make sure to put the lift arms on the tires. Use ladders underneath the car. And oh yeah, make sure that you don't load up the ice cream truck on level and run away if stuff starts shaking. If you get really angry, just keep going. Too close to the floor?
So you have to raise this whole assembly.
Yeah.
Then these will work.
Oh.
So when it's at the floor, then it disengages.
Right.
That's why they're on a stem like that.
Oh, so then when you're on the floor, you can free
Yeah. So
roll
once it starts going up,
yeah,
this pin will drop for this in relation to this bracket,
right,
and then
that
these
won't
will
be in the
drop
way.
down.
Okay, and then when you're on the ground, you can free move it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why they're like that. Okay.
All right, that makes sense.
Nothing's wrong. All right. The elbow or the straight one?
It's coming right out of here. It's just pouring out too.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so you can see right behind me, the Maxjax is completely installed and bolted down. Now it's just a matter of organizing everything. And before we get into this and I show you the thing in action, I just wanted to give a big shout out to anyone who has helped with this entire process. I don't care what you did. You could have helped me lift it out of the box. You could be my wonderful grandpa who actually bought this thing for me. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a card right here to explain that story just a little bit. Also, if you haven't seen the video of us doing this concrete slab, my dad, his buddy Mark, family friend of ours, we cut all this out, dug down a foot, poured the slab. I'll put a card to that video up here as well. This thing, it's amazing, you guys. Now we got both of the big things we needed done. The steel building's done, the lift is done, and I can't believe I'm actually sitting here looking at this thing, like actually bolted down. So let's get right into it and show you guys this thing going up and down, doing lift things. All right, so it's pretty simple. You got the pump unit right here, and eventually I want to mount it to either that post or the wall, and then I'll run a hard line up the ceiling, around and down. So I don't really plan on moving this. You can see the slab that we had to pour is massive, so I don't plan on moving this thing around at all, really. And you still have a parking spot. There's all the bags of sackcrete that we use to make this slab. But anyway, yeah, so all these hoses just get wrapped up here. So let me untangle these and then we'll show you how that works. All right, so then they come with these super nice hydraulic fittings. This one we had a little bit of issues with where we had pipe tape it up, and then you just pop the cap off this end, and all you got to do to put it on, you can see the fitting there. You don't have to do anything. When you put it on, all you do is press it in like that. When you go to take it off, you can see that little notch there. That has to line up with that thing, and then you pull this collar back, and that's just so you can't accidentally bump it and knock it off while you're working. So then we'll come over here. We'll do the same thing on this side. Take our caps off. And it's seriously, guys, it's hydraulic fitting. It's super nice. All you do, push. And now I'm just gonna scoot these arms in for right now so that I'm not like stepping on them. And that's the thing we're having the issue with earlier. So that looked wrong to me, but you can see how the teeth on that little arm are sitting on the bottom. That's so when it's on the ground like this, you can free move them around with your feet. Just like my hoists at work. Then literally all you do is push the button, here we go. Super cool, guys. You can see eventually as it goes up, you'll see the cylinder come through the top there. We'll raise her up to the max height just to show you kind of what you're working with. There you go, you can see that. And we'll talk about the issue we had with that and that board here in a second. All right, guys, so we're not quite at our max height with this yet. I think I have to add a little more hydraulic fluid to it. And then, so if you look right here, you can see this board that has all the blue dust on it, and you can see the cylinder, and that thing's pretty tight on there. So that board is there because whoever built my shelves, you can see right there, this one wasn't tied into a rafter at all, and they butted two boards up, so it was bending down. So what I did is I took a bottle jack and a 2x4 last summer, got it as straight as I could, and then I put that board over it. So I had to chop a little bit of it off just so that the cylinder cleared. But yeah, you guys, there is the Maxjax lifted up. Now the reason that I don't have a car on this quite yet is because the slab is only about a week old, so it's still kind of green concrete. It's not fully cured yet. I bought 5,000 PSI strength concrete, so I mean, I'm not a concrete expert, but my dad's buddy worked concrete for 20 years, and he said this is probably set up to about 4,000 PSI right now, but I don't want to have any issues. So I'm gonna wait a couple more weeks before we lift a car on it. Then the Celica is gonna get in here, we'll start tearing into that project. But then if you wanna lower the lift, all you gotta do is pull this safety pin. Then you can see that big metal bar in there that comes out. See, it goes in, comes out. Go do the same thing to the other side. Comes out just like that. And now we can go down. When we go down, all we gotta do is hold this. And right now, when we're going down, you can see how slow it is. Well, we don't have any weight on this thing right now, so it's literally just relying on the weight of the lift and that cylinder to force the fluid back into our reservoir down here. All right, guys, so obviously it's too early for me to make like a review on the Maxjax. I haven't even got to lift anything, but initial thoughts, pretty easy to set up, really good customer service. I think it's a great product at a great price. Everything seems to be put together and made really well. Everything's powder coated, high quality paint. So the one thing that does really irritate me about this, and we're gonna talk about it, here's some instruction sheets, and the instructions suck. It's Chinese instructions, and they can't do anything. They do everything half-assed. So this little hose right here came on our pump assembly. So that hose goes right where that hose is right there. So this was in here, and then this one came with it. So if we go over to the instructions, there is a TSB. If you're a mechanic, you know what that is. It's a technical service bulletin, right? So in the mechanics world, it's where a product doesn't have a recall, but it's a common enough issue to where they put one of these bulletins out to help technicians with a common issue that the vehicle has. Now, in the world of mechanics, we take care of that stuff. There's a TSB, the mechanics do it. So what happened with this is that hose, they said, was backwards. So this whole top little assembly there where the hose goes in up top, technical term failing me, I don't know. But this was actually on the other side there, and then they said that hose wouldn't work, and they included this new hose. Well, if you know it doesn't work, why don't you guys just change it? But I could tell you why, because then they would have had to take that apart, so it's easier and cheaper just to throw a new hose in the box and let the customer deal with it. And this whole assembly was backwards, so that's what this sheet says, is you have to flip this around, take this old hose out, and put this new one in. And one of the other things that really sucks, and again, they don't really think of anything. If you look right there, how in the hell are you supposed to tighten that fitting in there after you use your thread putty when this nut, I guess this one isn't really in the way that much, but look at that. I mean, I had a hell of a time tightening that on there after we flipped this whole thing upside down. And this, you have to get these elbows at like exactly the right angle, because this hose, the new one, is super thick, which, not complaining, I'd rather have it be good quality. All right, but then this is the funniest part. So I'm gonna see if I can get you guys to be able to see this, but it just explains right here why you have to take that old hose out and flip that top piece around. And it's like, oh yeah, reference the picture. I can't hardly see, it's just like a black blob. I mean, you can barely see what's going on in that picture, like at all. So it's like, how is this supposed to help me? So yeah, that's the one gripe that I have, is the instructions are really super crappy. But other than that, you guys, I'm super stoked about this. Awesome, look at that. I sat out here, guys, for like 2 hours yesterday just going up and down with this thing, and it's a lot of fun. And I mean, I was checking for leaks, so I was doing something. But you guys, that's gonna wrap up the video on the Maxjax 2-post lift, and I am just super grateful for everybody that's helped me along the way. This has truly been a journey, and we're one giant step closer to setting up the shop. Also, I wanted to tell you guys, if you happen to be a Celica owner that is watching this video, I'm going to be doing a video series. It's either gonna be bi-weekly or weekly. We'll see how many entries we get, but it's going to be called Rating My Subscribers Celica. So if you want to be entered in that video, I'll put the email address down below so you can send me a picture or pictures of your Celica, and we'll get that thing going. So I'm super stoked about that as well. As always, guys, thank you for watching and supporting the channel. If you could, drop me a big fat like on this video. It really helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell so you're notified every time we upload a video. Very soon, we will get you a video of a car actually being lifted on the Maxjax. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.